What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Taylor,
And I'm Connor.
and welcome back to Diamond in the Rough. All right, today we're going to be talking about a recently released movie called, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. This movie, for me at least, came out in very select theaters on November 9th, and then it also full released on Netflix on December 9th. I originally planned to watch this in theaters, but at the time I was too busy, so I didn't have the chance. And then as soon as it came out on Netflix, I watched it.
Yeah, I also watched it on Netflix.
This is more of it is technically a low budget movie, but I would say it almost feels more indie, even though it comes from like a big name director.
Yeah, stop motion animation is not everybody's cup of tea.
Right,
sure.
right. It's very, niche.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so today we're going to be talking about it, and we'll give our quick spoiler review, and then real quickly, I just want to go over like the cast list for this movie because
there's
a lot of good actors that were involved in this movie. Let's see. So, I won't say character names because I don't really want to well.
Yeah, I mean, most of the main ones is like everybody knows Pinocchio's like main characters.
Yeah, so the Pinocchio is played by Gregor Mann, kid. Geppetto is voiced by David Bradley. The what would be Jiminy Cricket. Is my man, Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yep. And then I'll just go over, because some of these are new characters, so Bern Gorman, Ron Perlman, John Turturro, as I pronounce his last name.
Mm-hmm.
Finn Wolfhard, one of the kids from Stranger Things, Kate Blanchett, Tim Blake Nelson, Christoph Waltz, Tilda Swinton, and it's probably all the people I know. But there's some more. Those are probably the bigger characters, though. So yeah, and then how did you feel about the movie, Connor?
I liked it overall. I had a couple things that I didn't like about it, but I love stop animation films and stop motion animation films.
Yeah,
and I think the darker take on Pinocchio I like a lot.
Okay, so how do you feel about the original Pinocchio?
I wasn't a huge fan. As like Disney movies go, it wasn't my favorite Disney movie.
Okay.
Like animated movie.
Yeah.
I know the donkey scene thing was like dark to a lot of people. It
is actually surprisingly creepy.
Yeah, sure, and I get that. And it's cool that Disney went in that direction too. But I definitely felt like this movie was a lot darker than that. There's a lot of adult themes in this movie.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this one.
This movie's very heavy-handed in
It is a Guillermo del Toro film.
Right, exactly. Guillermo del Toro is not afraid to put real tragedies in there,
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah, I not a huge fan of the original Pinocchio, but I will say I like this one more than the original. Maybe that's blasphemy, but
yeah.
Sorry, that's just how it is.
Yeah. All right. So what else you liked about the movie?
Animation was great. Voice acting, superb. I mean, top of the line voice acting. I loved Ewan McGregor as the cricket. He did an amazing job. I will say one of my problems with the movie is I really didn't enjoy Pinocchio's voice. It maybe the tone or something, but it just really rubbed me the wrong way, and I was just really irritated.
Did you like the original voice actor better? Or you just didn't like either one?
No. Yeah, I don't think I liked either one of it. It just rubs me the wrong way, like in the beginning. Maybe because of how I was raised, but like the way that the kid speaks, you know what I mean? And like towards the end, I liked it more. It was just the beginning of the movie, like the first half of the movie. I was just like,
you mean in the sense that he was very like disrespectful and rude?
Yeah,
or blunt,
and his voice was so grating when he was doing that it was like so annoying. You know what I mean? I just wanted to like strangle the kid.
Okay,
but it wasn't like yeah.
But do you not think, like, I don't know if it is, but to me, like, it almost feels intentional.
Sure. I think that's intentional, and if they're trying to get like you to feel like that frustration. I totally get it, and I applaud them for that. It's just that it doesn't make me enjoy the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just a little too cringy.
Yeah, it makes me cringe, and I just want to like close my eyelids shut over my eyeballs and like rip them off and stub them into my fucking ears so I don't have to hear them anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but,
I gotcha.
Other than that, Christoph Waltz as the carnival head guy.
So good.
So good. I mean,
I love Christoph Waltz, dude.
Yeah, Christoph Waltz,
such a great actor.
Blows it out of the park every time, and he nailed it this time. It was awesome. Geppetto was really well voice acted.
He was actually really good. So
he was really good.
For those of you that might not know this guy, David Bradley, to me, his biggest role is the caretaker in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
He sounds great in this movie.
Yeah, he does. He did an amazing job.
He plays Geppetto the best.
He does. Yeah. I agree 100%. I also liked a lot of the character designs. I love the way that Pinocchio looked in this movie. It was a lot more like grunge.
Yeah, it's definitely
the way that he was made and how he looks compared to the original.
More raw and like
a little darker. Comes from a darker place.
Clearly darker, but like I would say probably more fitting to the
time period. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also loved the time setting. I love that it was set. Well, I'm not going to go into spoilers, but the time period that it's set in this movie is great. I think that was a fucking amazing choice.
Yeah.
I loved the Pinocchio. There's the big whale. The big whale in this one.
A lot of the iconic moments.
The big whale in this one was just as amazing. I mean, I loved the whole look of the fucking whale, quote unquote. And everything. I just thought, all those aspects were great. I thought everything was really well executed on that front.
Okay, so you liked a lot of the callbacks to the original story, but the new take on it.
Yeah, I liked this take more on really fitting it within like a real world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a more realistic world.
Yeah, with like real horrors. Real world horrors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you give this movie overall then?
Overall, I'd probably give it like.
Oh, before we give your rating, I do want to just announce for the viewers, we're going to be changing the rating system for this show in particular, mostly because I feel like the movies and things we're going to be covering are not as, I don't know, like
they're on the same scale.
It's not the same scale as like the normal stuff that we do on Our Take.
Right.
So I want a different scale, and then on top of that, we're gonna have it themed just to match the whole show. So
yeah,
our ratings are going to be the equivalent would be 1 through 5, And then, but instead of just being numbers, we're going to be using dirt, copper, silver, gold, diamond. So obviously, diamond being the best rating that we can give to
and then dirt
one
being
of
the
these movies.
lowest.
The lowest, yeah. And then, of course, everything in between.
Yep.
So that being said, what would you give this movie?
For this movie, I'd give it like I'd give it a gold.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So really high. Just real quick, retroactively, what would you give Violent Night?
Violent Night, I'd give a diamond.
Yeah. A diamond? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so I have an idea of. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Yeah. Sounds good. So that's a gold from Connor. And then I'll just try to, I know I always like the ramble, but give my
What are your thoughts on this? So how did you feel about the movie?
As far as the original Pinocchio goes, I agree, and I feel like most people will agree with this, in the fact that the original Pinocchio, like, it kind of sucks because it's like a classic, but it's real boring. Like, it's a real stale story.
It's real slog.
The characters are like, they're distinct, but they're just not super interesting enough.
Yep.
And it's just, I don't know. It wasn't my biggest, wasn't one of my favorite original Disney movies, or animations. So, as far as Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio goes, first off, I will kind of admit I have a little bit of a bias, which I'm sure you probably do to an extent as well. I love Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
I think all of his work that he does is amazing. It's just like his style and everything just matches me perfectly.
Yeah, sure.
I know that sometimes it can, I guess, for people it might be a little bit too much, which this might be an example of that. But for me personally, this is my favorite rendition of Pinocchio I have seen to date.
I agree. I think
to include
film,
the original and the remake that recently came out with Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah, I heard that was awful.
This is so much better.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this Pinocchio story more than any other. For sure, I agree with you.
Yeah, like
I may not be as huge of a fan as Guillermo del Toro, but when he does these kinds of movies, he does them right. He's all he really nails the like folklore, folktale kind of movie.
Right. So this is what basically was going to set up how I feel about this movie. Is I think Guillermo del Toro did an amazing job taking the source material and elevating it to a much higher level, because I was fully like wrapped into this movie. Like, as soon as I was watching, I was like, wow, this is a huge night and day difference between the original Pinocchio and this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, the entire time, like, the original Pinocchio, there's definitely some moments when, like, for example, a donkey scene, I was like, holy crap, this is like, it's definitely edgy for Disney. I'm like, this is cool. But, they only do so much with that. But this version is just nonstop the entire time. I'm like, wow, he does such interesting additions with like real world things, still pulling off references from the original, but real life events, and then mixing just really great new characters that help tie in the entire story, and then adding in like additional layers that were not present in the original Pinocchio.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that he because I think that he did a really good job, like making it feel like a fairy tale, but like in the real world. You know what I mean? Do you feel like he did that?
Yeah. I totally agree. It's because like the original Pinocchio story, they both, this one and the original, they both have that like folk story elements. But this one feels like it's grounded in real world versus a completely made up world in the original.
Yeah. I feel like that was the best mark that he hit in this movie was that I was kind of blown away on how
Right.
like it's actually set in Italy because all
Right.
of their names are Italian.
Of course,
you know?
they're all Italian, but
I
in the
thought that was
original story, you don't even think that.
right. So I thought that was amazing. I thought like what a great idea to do that because
Yeah, and then with that being said, like that includes many other facets. You know, we have a bunch of new characters, a new. Yeah, I don't really want to like spoil too much, but like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
uh,
We'll get into
real
it in the
events,
spoiler section.
yeah, that happened, but it adds so much to the story. At least,
Yeah.
I feel. All the actors did a great job with their roles. It was kind of funny the first time, so they interrupt Cricket, and he's about to do his first song. That pissed me off because I love Ewan McGregor singing.
Yeah, and then it kind of turned into like a running joke through the whole movie
until the very end. Yeah,
yeah.
So I hated it, but I loved it because because I want him to sing, and we do get him to sing at the end. But at first, I was like, "Oh, how dare you disrespect him?"
yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know how a lot of other people feel about him, but I loved him in Moulin Rouge. So yeah, I think he's got a great voice.
Yeah, even McGregor does a great job.
Yeah. Ron Perlman, he has a supporting character in this, or like a side character. He does actually like a really good job. Like even though he's not really a main character, I feel like he played his role so well that he kind of stands out more than he should.
Yeah, and you almost couldn't tell it was Ron Perlman. You just thought it was the guy who he's playing. You know, what I mean? Like
yeah.
I mean, you can tell by his voice that it's Ron Perlman, but he plays it really well to where we'll get into the spoiler section on who this guy is, but I mean, he really nails the whole theme and aspect of
for sure.
the character he's playing.
So yeah, love all the new takes and additions to the story. I thought it was great. The music was awesome. I love the stop motion in this is so amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Like this is honestly probably the best stop motion film I have seen to date. Now I don't watch a whole ton of them, but I enjoy them. It's just there's not a whole lot of them, so you kind of have to go out of your way to find them. Yeah, like the last movie that was really good
one. Yeah,
was it Isle of Dogs?
Yeah, Isle of Dogs was really good.
That was probably the last one that I could remember that I watched.
Yeah, the studio Leica, they do a lot of really good like stop motion animation. Like there's a movie called Link. It's has Hugh Jackman in it, and it's about like him fighting like a Sasquatch or whatever. That movie has really, really good stop motion animation. I mean, you almost can't even tell.
Yeah, that's how I felt about this movie. Like,
yeah, I mean,
like I know very good going in that it's stop motion, but there are certain scenes when it's so smooth you can't even tell.
Yeah, I mean, he did an amazing job. It's definitely up there with like the best stop motion pictures.
Yeah, I also did want to point out too. There's a lot of like little details, but the one that I definitely remember is Pinocchio himself. His character movement style to me reminded me heavily of Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas, which I love.
Yeah,
and I think it's maybe because of the length of his limbs.
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah, just the way he moved. I thought it was just neat. And then everybody else, of course, it's like just looks really good. But
yeah,
I just thought it was very distinct, and I was like, I don't know if that's intentional or not, but
I'm sure it was. I mean, they made him kind of move around like a puppet, you know?
Yeah. So it gave me a little bit of the Tim Burton vibes there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this movie, and as far as rating goes, I almost want to give it a diamond.
I mean,
just because I feel like taking something that I thought was so bland and like elevating it, I feel like that's impressive enough to earn it. You know what? Screw it. We're going with a diamond.
There you go.
Got it. Pinocchio.
The highest score possible.
Yeah. Which Violent Night would get that as well.
Yeah. I think, you know, I would totally agree with you. I think it definitely deserves high praise for the amount of, I mean, I know stop motion takes like a fucking bajillion years.
Oh yeah, it takes a long time.
But the fact that they made it this well and this amazing,
Yeah, I don't know if you got to watch too, but they also have like a behind the scenes. And man, when you're watching them do the work for how they made the movie, it's insane.
Yeah, it is insane. Yeah,
like they had so many scales too, like from super large to like the smallest they could possibly get the characters while still being able to maneuver them. Like it's crazy how much work went into this film. And the thing is too, because it's like a indie low budget movie, most people probably aren't going to watch this, and on top of that being stop motion, like it's got a lot of things stacked against it, but I promise you this is a movie worth watching if you like Guillermo del Toro. You're not so against stop motion that you just refuse. And I think if you do like Pinocchio, I think this is definitely worth a watch.
Yeah. I would say if you really love the original Pinocchio, I don't know that you would really enjoy this movie.
Well, I can't say you would like it more than the first movie.
Yeah.
But this is definitely a very interesting version.
Yeah, you should definitely just check it out just for how interesting of a take on Pinocchio it is. Yeah. And if you enjoy musicals or you don't mind musicals, then, give this movie a watch.
Yeah. As well. Just know, like I said, it is a Guillermo del Toro movie.
Yeah.
And you know it throughout the entire film.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's our ratings, and now we will get into the spoiler section. All right, Connor, let's get into some spoilers. So what specifically would you like to pick out first?
So I'll start off with the things I didn't like from this movie. So first, I have to say I'm not a fan of musicals. When I was a kid, I was more of a fan of musicals, but as I grew older, I don't know what it is.
Not your thing
but
anymore.
Yeah, it just makes me like do this. You know what I mean? Like, and not intentionally. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. I don't want to do that, but it just unintentionally makes me do that.
No, I get it, because for me, it's actually kind of the opposite. I hated musicals as a kid.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older, like I just slowly started like really, it was kind of like film by film base, but now I'm kind of like really appreciative of musicals, but it really depends on what it is, what it's about, who's singing it. Like it's, you know, like not everything, but I would say I'm absolutely more open to them now than I used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could totally see that. I think it's just like I don't know what it is. It's just I loved musicals as a kid, but I maybe it's because it was the opposite that I grew up to not enjoy them. I really don't like musicals. There's good musicals out there. I'm not saying that musical movies are bad. I think musicals have just as much of a place in cinema as any other movie. Yeah. I just personal opinion.
It's just not your preferred
personal
way
feeling.
of having a story told.
I just cringe unintentionally in my face, and I can't stop it. So it's just
that's fine. That's fine. Totally.
So that's just inherently something that I don't like about this movie. Yeah. I'm not, and that's not to say it's not done well. It's done very well. I think the musical aspects of this movie are done really, really good. If you love musicals, you're gonna love this musical. I think it's up there with like the original Pinocchio musical moments. I know they have a lot of really famous songs.
Yeah.
Any other Disney musical, it's up there. Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of the things that kind of brought it down for me. But outside of the musical elements, the story was amazing. Characters were amazing.
Yeah. So let's just bring it out. This movie clearly is set like World War I into World War II time period.
It's set at the end of World War I, like after World War I is done, and then it goes into World War II.
Yeah.
And it kind of hits
we
like the
literally
middle of World
have
War II.
Mussolini.
Yeah.
In the movie.
It's like in the middle of World War II is kind of where the movie is like ending on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think was awesome. What a fucking amazing choice.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
kind of nuts, right? Like I would never expect that to be
and it has
in a
dark,
Pinocchio movie.
Like adult war moments. You know what I mean? I mean, a fucking kid dies, dude. Like an actual kid gets fucking blown up. I mean, he's not the only kid, but like the main kid that he befriends in the fucking Nazi youth camp gets
straight up. They're clearly, they're supposed to be clearly.
They're clearly like
Hitler Youth
fascists,
scouts or whatever they're called, cadets.
Ron Perlman plays a Gestapo officer.
Yeah,
they straight up call him Gestapo. Yeah. Which I thought was real fucking bold. I mean, to put
it is Pinocchio, for sure.
Yeah, and I thought it was great. Yeah, I thought it was great though. It really added to the whole this whole feeling of it being like something magical has happened in this real kind of grungy dark world, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing that was kind of cool was that they combined so many I guess what do you call things together, so the World War II Nazi fascist kind of thing with the mystical, magical, wonderful Pinocchio. And then the officer, he's like, oh, I'm gonna turn you into a soldier, because that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You just discovered this wooden boy that came to life. Bro, why wouldn't you turn that into a child soldier?
Yeah.
And they literally have a child soldier camp that he gets trained with. And they literally learn to shoot each other and capture the flag and
throw fake grenades at each other.
Yeah. With all these other child soldiers.
Yeah, it was pretty dark.
What's his character name? Ron Perlman. Podesta, his son, is also included and becomes Pinocchio's friend in the camp.
And then he gets fucking blown up.
Yep.
He gets incinerated. That's fucking crazy.
Because the entire time this movie's going, it definitely reminds you, hey, there's a war going on.
Yeah.
I mean, even when Geppetto, his son literally dies.
Yeah, his original son dies from World War I.
Because he walks into the...
They're at a church. He's fixing up
the church. That's right.
The Jesus. Man, I don't want to. This is not the word, but he's fixing up the Jesus statue.
Altar.
On the cross at the back of the church, and they're done for the day because they hear the fucking sound of planes coming over, and Geppetto's like, "All right, we should just go home. Get out of here and make sure we're safe, right?" And as soon as they walk out of I knew as soon as he fucking said that, I was like, okay, this kid's gonna fucking.
Of course, I mean, he's gonna die because that even happens in the original story.
Yeah, and he walks out of the church, and the kid's like, "I forgot my acorn," and fucking runs back into the church.
And of course,
at that moment,
the worst timing. Some fucking pilot's just they're just trying to fly away. They're not even in a fight, and he's just like, you know what? We have too much weight. I'm dropping these bombs.
Yeah, and he just drops the bomb directly onto the fucking church, kills the kid immediately.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah, that was fucking... I was like, holy shit, dude. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Gets dark real fast.
It gets dark. But I love that about this film. I mean, I agree. Like that he took the risk. He really, he just made it seem more grounded, and to me, that really helped me more connect or assimilate the story of Pinocchio,
Yeah, no, for sure. I would agree as well.
Yeah, because it was like, oh shit, yeah, that shit actually happened. That's fucking crazy, Yeah. And that was an amazing. He did an amazing job on that front.
Yeah, it makes the whole story a lot more, to me at least, believable.
Yeah,
and immersive.
Yeah, immersive. That's what I was looking for. I was very immersed in the world that they were building.
For sure, especially compared to the original.
Yeah, especially compared to the original. This I think blows it out of the park. The other thing besides the musical part that I didn't like about this movie would be, like I said, the child voice acting from Pinocchio.
Okay.
The voice actor did an amazing job. Don't get me wrong. It's just the way he's written and
Yeah, no, I got you.
The way he sounds.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's irritating.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't bother me because I know the character's irritating. Like, I don't like Pinocchio, no matter what. Even though the movie is literally about Pinocchio, I don't like Pinocchio. I love Geppetto. I love Geppetto's story. I love his love for his family, his dead wife, his dead son. Like in this one, he becomes an alcoholic.
Yeah.
He like almost kills himself, or I feel like he's about to kill himself.
Yeah. 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 So it's like a nitpick, but I just have to say it because like I know he's supposed to be irritating and everything, but
well, I don't know if he's supposed to be, but to me, he's just naturally irritating.
It just makes me fucking like every time I see it, But so it's like,
especially in the beginning, it's real.
Yeah,
it's
real rough.
Yeah.
But besides that, I would say, the only other thing that I didn't enjoy was. Okay, this may be like I loved. We'll come back to this. I loved the like supernatural aspect of this movie, where like there's fucking floating eyeballs, like just fucking floating around, and they have like lizard eyelids, and they're like, and they're fucking like disgusting.
They're just like spirits, like forest spirits almost.
Yeah, and then there's like this fucking like.
Yeah, this is kind of like the new thing I wanted to talk about is like they kind of added a effect to Pinocchio's immortality, and they try to like make it understandable of why he's alive. And so they have this spirit, or multiple spirits, two spirits, of life and death, and they give Pinocchio life, and every time he dies, he has to stay with her.
With death. He stays with death every time he dies.
I believe that's
every time he comes back.
Voices that character.
Yeah. Every time he comes back, he has to stay there longer.
A little bit longer.
Yeah, every single time.
And so it adds like a real consequence to not being careful with your life,
Yeah, and it gives a consequence to his
choices.
Amazing immortality.
Because
this amazing gift he's been given is actually kind of a curse because
he realized in the beginning, of course, he's like real naive and thinks like, oh, it's no big deal. Like I'm just here.
I can't die.
I just never die. Awesome. But then every time he comes back, she's like, you stay here a little bit longer, and although you live forever, Geppetto will not.
Yeah.
So
nobody else
the
will.
more mistakes you make, like being so carefree, the less time you have with the ones you love.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love that aspect of it. I love the designs of
time becomes like a super ominous like thing that's always present.
Right.
Just
it's
like
always
it is
living over. Yeah. And I love the designs of like Death and
she looks great. Gave
her
me
sister
huge
Life.
Pan's Labyrinth vibes.
I was gonna say she looks,
which is
the
a great
fucking
movie.
Eyeballs, like the million eyeballs all over the fucking face, and her wings and shit. Yeah, the horns, especially her sister Life. I mean, it's same concept and excellent design. The fucking four wings.
I mean, I know, of course, it's like that was another Guillermo del Toro film.
Yeah,
but you can see the similarities in his
the callbacks.
Imagination.
Yeah. I really love the designs. I thought it was creepy. I thought it was, it was definitely really cool to see.
I thought it was a great way to help Pinocchio's character progression through the story.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, Death had a lot more involvement in it than
Oh yeah, for sure.
Life did. But yeah, she did a great job on kind of just like time, like looming over him when
like
he returns,
his character arc. I feel like it's pushed so much further than the original story. So they have the elements from the original story in this, but those combined with these new characters of life and death helps push him so much further than he was.
Yeah, I agree. They
keeps the pacing
really
very good too.
Yeah. So yeah, the final thing I didn't really like was I liked in the original story that eventually he becomes a real boy.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in here, he doesn't do that. He just stays as like a, which I get it. It's like in spirit, he becomes a real boy because he only has one life left at the end. Which actually,
he chooses to.
Yeah, but is that actually real? Because he gets one life back, but then he comes back and immediately dies. So she has to come back and like do her spell that she did in the beginning again to bring him back to life. So does that give him immortality again? Or is it just he has one life from there on? Because at the end they're like, does he ever die? I don't know. He could. And then it's just like, but like, did he like...
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Because then it makes the whole thing pointless where they're like, you only have one life left to live. Because which I thought was great because he sacrifices himself.
Let me explain the ending a little bit.
Okay.
It is confusing. Okay, so at the end of the movie, of course throughout the movie that he's immortal. At the very end of the movie, Geppetto is about to die. Mm-hmm. And he is with death in this moment, and he's like, I need to get back right now or Geppetto's gonna die. Yeah. But Death is like, you can't do that because the rules are you stay with me until those sand run out of that hourglass, then you can return. If you choose to go back now, you will be breaking the rules, therefore no longer will be immortal. He chooses to do that to save Geppetto, so he chooses his death over Geppetto's life.
Right.
So that he can live and Pinocchio will die instead. And him doing that, life saw the good in him from his transition as a boy.
Right. She grants
him the cricket's wish, which she owed him from the beginning, saying, you must watch over Pinocchio as he goes on, which he did. So she grants his wish and makes Pinocchio alive again. And he is immortal throughout after that point, because you see at the end they basically show the fact that everybody dies. Cricket dies, Geppetto dies, and he just kind of goes on with his life.
Right. So what I'm asking is he immortal in the sense that he cannot die, where like he dies but he still comes back, or he's immortal in the sense where he has one life left but he's just immortal, like cannot grow old immortal?
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
Right.
I took it as...
It was the whole dilemma of like him being immortal.
I took it as he could not die.
Okay, so that...
Like it was in the beginning.
Like it was in the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay. Well... Okay. That, I mean, it's...
At least that's what
it's a fairy tale.
From it.
Right, and that's...
Yeah,
like,
it is a...
Well, that's what I thought too. That's why I'm saying, like, that's what I thought too, but for me that's more disappointing, because... like, his sacrifice meant a lot, and it was great. But I thought the whole thing was like, he chose to break the rules, so now he has to live with mortality. You know what I mean?
So,
but now he doesn't have to live with mortality anymore, and he doesn't have that lesson.
I think I understand what you're trying to say, but I will argue there's the exact same effect, but with the opposite reaction, in the fact that he learns of his consequences through immortality, not because he can't die, but because all of his loved ones die. Because we literally see him bury Geppetto and Cricket, and he stands at their funerals and then moves on with his life. So he learns through their tragedies of his lessons, versus him dying and just him losing his own life is like the consequence. I would argue that it's actually worse being the only one who cannot die, because you get so attached to everybody and then you lose them constantly.
Yeah, and I get that. Like, I totally agree. I just think that, like, I just want to know if it's like he is just immortal in the sense of he can't grow old, but if he dies like from a fucking bomb or something, then he's dead, or if he's just immortal where he just is continuously immortal forever every time. Like, you know what I mean?
If
like,
he doesn't age, that
yeah, I feel like that's a more valuable like lesson, like you said, like, because eventually it I don't know. To me, that's more sad if it's like he just can't die and he's just like he can die, but he's just going to keep coming back forever because it's the same spell that she did in the beginning. She does at the end. If that's what that is, then you know, eventually it's just going to be like he's going to turn into like the fucking Wolverine and just be like, ugh, you know what I mean? Like, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, it's just like you can't fucking like.
Yeah, but I mean, even Wolverine, right? He's got a huge sob story. Like, he's gone through so much heartbreak throughout his years.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, so are they trying to say that it's just like he's destined to have like a kind of heartbreaking ending where he's just forever going to be alone? Like, is that, or is it like?
I mean, I guess it's
grow old,
I guess
but if he chose to, he could die.
I don't think he could choose to die, but as far as like the tone of what it's supposed to be,
right?
It is a little,
because that's really dark.
confusing.
If he's like, yeah, if he's, because at the end it's supposed to be like happy or whatever, but I'm like, if he fucking,
well, I don't know. Like, to me, it was it was dark. Just the fact that they have the shot of him on the hill, and then you just see Geppetto's grave.
Yeah, that was dark. I was just talking about like when Sebastian the cricket is talking, you know, in the background, and he's like, you know, what happened to Pinocchio? Nobody knows. Did he die? I mean, I would think so, but you know, whatever happens, happens. And then it's like this like ending on like this like nice high note or whatever. But then it's like, okay, but what? Like, okay, so like, is it really like he's like, did he actually die eventually, or was it just like
nobody knows?
Yeah. So which
Sebastian won't either because he's dead.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just like
he's hanging out with the.
Yeah, but he's still talking even though he's dead. He's like, you know, monologuing.
Because he's in the spirit realm.
Yeah, exactly. But
he was playing cards with the fucking
which I thought was great. They're like the bunny undertakers or whatever.
Yeah, they have like fucking mask on and shit.
Yeah,
and they're like skeleton bodies with bunny masks.
They have like a rib cage and then fur around it. That was pretty cool. Those were cool character designs.
Cool. That also felt Tim Burton to me a little bit.
Yeah, that was a lot more Tim Burton. But yeah, I don't. It really, I don't know. It's just, I wanted him. The main thing that I was trying to get at was that I
just
wanted him to turn into a real boy
conclusion and not so open ended.
No, I don't mind open ended conclusions. I just want. I just don't like the story or the ending of him. I kind of got off topic. I don't like the ending of him not becoming a real boy. You know what I mean? Like he earned that. You know what I mean?
As opposed to the first or the original movie.
Right. So I don't like that he just stayed as this fucking wooden puppet for. You know what I mean? Like he earned being a real boy. You know, like he. That's all he wanted, but he didn't care about that at the end. He cared more about his family, and that was like his wish, right? But at the end, it was just like, no, you're gonna be fucking alone. Yeah, that's what it. No, fuck you. You get to like watch everybody die and then walk off alone into the fucking ether of the earth.
Yeah,
just
that's
fucking
fine.
Wander. You know what I'm talking about? I mean,
that's fine. I don't mind the edgy take on it because
sure,
the original, it's like
I don't get me wrong. I enjoy that it's dark. I like that it's dark.
Yeah.
But it's just that wasn't satisfying.
That's
to
fair.
Me. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. So, liked it overall, just wasn't a big fan of the ending for the most part.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Pinocchio himself and music and whatnot. Yeah, I feel like that's fair. I didn't mind it. I thought it was kind of a cool take to it.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique take. Yeah.
The whole thing
It's an interesting take. They did a really good job taking it in a different direction, and they did the different direction ending very well. It's just for me personally, it just was very unsatisfying to see him not, metaphorically become a real boy, but not like fully become a real boy. Yeah. And
maybe the only reason I feel different is because I hate Pinocchio. So like, I don't feel like his actions are great once he, decides to sacrifice and all that kind of stuff and learn.
Yeah, you want him to get fucked at the end.
Emotions. Like, I don't care about him, basically. Like, I'm going to be honest. I still hate him. Like, his progression is done so much better in this movie, but I still hate Pinocchio. So, if you just went back and you caught yourself on fire like an idiot with that kid earlier in the house, that's fine by me. Go burn. Like,
I get it.
Like, I was so much more attached to Geppetto, especially in this movie, because it just feels so
you feel for him,
real and like depressing.
He had a very rough life.
Like, I mean, he does in the original story too, but this one just emphasizes it a lot.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job on that.
Yeah, so
Geppetto was an amazing character for sure.
Yeah, as he should be. I mean, I know he's like obviously one of the main characters, but I just think. I forget his name again already. David Bradley did a really good job as Geppetto.
Yeah, he did.
So yeah. All right. Any more final thoughts you have for the movie?
No, I think like I said, I think he did. Guillermo del Toro knocked it out of the park. He did an amazing job. I knew you were gonna love this movie, and I'm really glad that I'm glad that he's still making movies. I'm glad.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like that he's making a lot more stuff. Like,
I wish
quickly.
Yeah, I wish that John fucking Carpenter would make more movies, but that's not happening. So
actually,
we'll see. Maybe
he did actually say he really wants to make a Dead Space movie.
I heard that, and I would love to fucking see that.
That would be a sick comeback for John Carpenter to make a movie again, dude. Because of course, he still makes great music.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
He kind of just stopped just because he was bored. Even though he makes like some amazing movies, like
even though like The Thing and fucking, I just I wish that one of my favorite directors, like how Guillermo del Toro is yours, can still
I just
satisfy me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, John Carpenter is another one of my favorite directors for sure as well.
Yeah, I love Guillermo del Toro. He's definitely one of my top favorites. I probably don't love him as much, but I definitely like a lot of his movies, and this one is definitely up there with one of his best, for sure.
Yeah, I think so as well. All right, well, that is it for our review for Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Let us know what your thoughts are on the movie if you have watched it. If not, maybe you should give it a shot.
Yeah, definitely go watch this movie. I highly recommend it.
And if you guys would like, feel free to check out our first episode, which we did on Violent Nights.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if you would consider giving us a like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't, subscribe, share, comments if you would like, and we will catch you guys in the next episode.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.